A bold prediction from the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee that Wisconsin's big recall election of their governor next week will serve as a test run for the presidential race. Wisconsin's Republican governor, Scott Walker, is facing a recall. His Democratic challenger is the guy he ran against for the office last time around, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett, a Democrat. And here is DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
If the Republican governor should retain his seat up there, what will it say about the power of unions who have been fighting him, and what will it say about putting Wisconsin in play this fall?
Well, I am going there Tuesday to campaign with Mayor Barrett. I think that he has a real opportunity to win. We have put our considerable grassroots resources behind him, all of the Obama for America and state party resources. Our grassroots network is fully engaged.
But are there national implications?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that because of our on-the-ground operation, we've had an opportunity in this election, because especially given that Wisconsin's a battleground state, just like we did in the recall elections a year ago, to give this a test run. And so what I think the implications will be is that ultimately I think Tom Barrett will pull this out. But regardless, it's given the Obama for America operation an opportunity to do the dry run that we need of our massive, significant, dynamic grassroots presidential campaign, which can't really be matched by the Romney campaign or the Republicans, because they've ignored on-the-ground operation.
Joining me now to discuss it, Matt Kittle, bureau chief for the Wisconsin Reporter, and Chris Wilson, pollster and former executive director of the Texas Republican Party. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for being here. So she says this is a test run for the president's re-election campaign. She's basically saying this is going to show how the Democrats, how well organized they are, their ground game, and she has high hopes that Governor Walker will be recalled, and it will sound the alarm bell for Republicans in the state of Wisconsin, a state that President Obama won by 14 points last time around. Wasn't exactly close, Matt. Is this recall election looking close right now?
The polls show a number of them within the margin of error, but every poll that comes out is better news for Governor Scott Walker. We really see between 5 percentage points and 9 percentage points, and tomorrow a big poll comes out, the Marquette University poll, the law school poll, and I think that's going to show us where things are. It's a widely respected poll.
Chris, what does it tell you that the race is now, that Governor Walker is ahead of his Democratic challenger by, you know, between, well, let's look at the Real Clear Politics average. We've got the Real Clear Politics average of all polls coming up here. And you can see it's about, well, 6 points or so. He's leading the Democratic challenger. What does that tell you in light of the fact that President Obama won the state of Wisconsin, you know, at the presidential level by 14 points?
Well, it shows that Wisconsin is changing, and it shows it's becoming more Republican. I think that's thanks to the Obama administration and their policies. And what you're also seeing here is that the Democratic Party, Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is saying what she has to say. But you can always tell when someone thinks they're going to lose an election, they talk about how well they're going to do, and then they start to downplay the significance of it, which is exactly what she did in the next line, is kind of moved into. But ultimately, we'll see this doesn't have as big a national implication. And she spent today sort of backtracking. It's the Democrats are going to have to stop going on Sunday shows, because it means that they have to spend Monday and Tuesday backtracking on all their comments. You can also look at the fact that they haven't made a significant investment there. In fact, it was a very minor investment, and only after they received a lot of criticism. You compare that to the Republican Governors Association, that's been the largest contributor on the right and has put significant resources into the race. I think Democrats have given up on this race a long time ago, and Wasserman Schultz is just saying what she has to say.
Matt, Wisconsin is an important state on the electoral map as we look at the presidential race come in November. And they are predicting that if Mitt Romney can win one of these industrial states, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, it would make his path to the presidency a whole lot easier. Obviously, he'd like to win Michigan, his native state, but he would also very much like to win Wisconsin. And if the voters turn out to support Governor Walker in a state in which unions have poured over $10 million into this recall election next week, does Debbie Wasserman Schultz have a point that it is a test run for the presidential race in 2012?
I think she's absolutely right. I think this is a test case, and I think New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said it best recently when he was stumping for Governor Scott Walker, and he said that Wisconsin is, for the next several weeks, the center of the political universe. Don't think that the national Republicans, national Democrats don't see this as what happens next. And there's been a lot of money, time, and resources invested from the national level into this particular race for so many reasons.
Chris, Karl Rove came out and said he sees it a little differently. He sees this as sort of a test run to see whether Wisconsin, unlike several, I mean, a Republican hasn't won this in the presidential race since Ronald Reagan. He says this may tell us, if Governor Walker retains his seat, for the first time that Wisconsin may be in play in the presidential race. Could it be, even if Governor Walker loses, but by a close margin, is there any way that's good news for the Republicans?
Well, I think Republicans, the fact that Scott Walker is governor is good news for Republicans. The fact that unions have gone in and wasted as much money as they have and significantly overplayed their hand is good news for Republicans. The fact that Scott Walker ran unopposed and received more votes than the two Democrats received in their own primary, an amazing contrast to what happened to President Obama against unconnected and a felon in West Virginia and Kentucky. And you look at everything that's gone on in Wisconsin right now, is that Scott Walker has shown that Wisconsin is a different state than it has been in past elections. And I think Carl's exactly right.
He has outspent his Democratic challenger, though. He's taken in $25 million. His Democrat counterpart only $1 million, although that doesn't count all the millions that the unions and others have put into the race. Gentlemen, thank you both.